made it to the last round. They're like, all right, so now Oprah's going to taste them. So we mail them out. And they're like, okay, so you guys have a few months to get ready, but you're in. I don't know how many people you're going to serve. It's going to be a lot. And from that point, we're just like, okay. And this is September. It's early. And, we're not even really thinking Christmas, but I got my Christmas menu ready. We've shot the flavors, taken all the photographs. We have crates in production, and it launches right before Thanksgiving. It was a week before. So it's in November. It's like mid-November it launches.
Oprah's favorite thing?
And then it crashed our site.
Welcome to The Dash. The Dash is that tiny line between your life start date and end date. It's your story, the chapters in your book, your journey. Get ready for real conversations with real people telling real stories about the realities of failure, setbacks, and success. Let's go.
Let's go. We're rolling. Let's go. The Dash in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Lady Jade. Welcome to the Dash podcast. Now, y'all, Oprah knows this woman that I'm about to introduce to you, our next guest. But before I do me a favor and do not forget to subscribe. I appreciate you guys always tuning in, always supporting, always watching. So go ahead and subscribe. Share this episode with somebody because it's going to be very inspirational. And leave a comment. I read all the comments and I'd love to chat with you. All right? So yeah, go ahead and subscribe right now. But our next guest, you may have seen her. Let me read. On Good Morning America. I feel like Robin Roberts right now, okay? She was also she was chosen as Oprah's favorite things in 2020. Black-owned, woman-owned business. You know how much this means to me. From the Cookie Society. Y'all welcome Miss Marissa Allen. Hi,
Marissa. Thanks for having me.
Okay, first of all, I wish people could smell what the studio smells like. It is sugar. Like the best. Like I feel like I am in a bakery right now. It smells so good.
Have to bring it with us.
They brought all the goods. Look, the producer is back there munching on something right now. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I am I can't believe I'm sitting in front of you right now. The fact that Oprah chose you, and we got to talk about that. How does Oprah choose you? You were on Good Morning America. So how does all of this feel right now?
It's incredible. It's just been going so fast. I feel like once we opened the doors and kind of getting through that pandemic, it just hasn't stopped. And so I would argue we haven't had a chance to sit down and man, that happened. But then I sit down with you and I was like, oh my gosh, we did do that. And it's incredible. It's surreal.
Okay, so tell everybody about Cookie Society first, and then we'll go back to see how did we get to this point?
Yeah, so started Cookie Society actually in my home kitchen back in 2018. I was making cookies. My husband played in the NFL for 9 years. Mm-hmm. And so I was sending cookies up to the locker room all the time. I was just going through cookies. I was like, take these to work. And I was getting some good feedback. But I also had 2 small kids. So my kids are only 18 months apart. I had a 1-year-old crawling around on the floor. And then I had an almost 3-year-old. And so starting a business was not on my mind at that time. I just knew I really loved making cookies. Fast forward, some encouragement from him and some really good feedback, no, you should go for it. We did, moved to Dallas, started working out of a commercial kitchen. We actually didn't open our first storefront for 2 years from that point. And so we opened our storefront in Frisco during the beginning of the pandemic. It was
brick and
daunting.
mortar.
It was brick and mortar. The first time we did that, it was really weeks after that stay-at-home order. We didn't even have a grand opening. We're like, I don't know if anyone's going to show up, but we're paying rent. So let's go ahead and get this going. And the community showed up. They showed out.
Oh, they still showed up even though
in their car. We were like Sonic car hops. We were running to cars are you here for cookies? And we had little laminated stuff. We all had gloves on, the whole thing, because so much was unknown in the beginning. And we would take your order. We'd run back inside. We'd grab it, run back outside. And that's how we started. We did that for about 6 months. We were only open for 4 hours because that's all we had enough staff to do. It was crazy. And then Oprah called, and so I thought it was a prank.
Well, hold on. Okay, that is a great segue. She said, then Oprah called. So we're going to pause and we're going to rewind, and then we're going to get back to Oprah calling, because a lot of people are trying. There are a lot of people that watch, and they're talented. They have gifts, and they're doing things out of their kitchen, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to go back to the beginning. Did you always know that this exactly was what you wanted to do?
No, I was actually not sure about the brick and mortar. So in my previous life, I've done a lot of things that I enjoyed, and I think they set me up for this moment, but they weren't the moment.
Okay, so like, let's talk about some of those things that you did before. Was it always in baking?
No.
Okay.
It was almost always in food.
Okay.
So I graduated from the University of Illinois with a marketing degree.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to use this. I'm going to go work for some ad agency.
Yeah.
God had other plans. So I ended up getting married, moving to Kansas City. Not a ton of work for me to find there. So I picked up a camera. So I started a camera business, like photography business. I was like, let me shoot your portraits. So I was doing that. Then after that, I got into food blogging because I love to cook. So that's where the food passion, recipe development really, really started. And at the whole time, I'm at home and I'm supporting my husband, and I have 2 kids and I'm taking care of them. And that was probably one of the most challenging times of my life, because I went from being, an overachiever in college, and I actually played soccer in college and getting that degree. And now I'm in a supporting role. And it's not that I wasn't proud of my supporting role, but it just didn't feel like enough. And it wasn't until I look back that it was, but.
It's funny that you say that, because when you're a woman, like you said, that has been an overachiever your whole life, sometimes being put in that supportive role, it feels like you're not doing enough. Or you feel like it's like, I'm really kind of defined by this and not by what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So sometimes it can be unfulfilling. Yeah.
It was humbling for sure.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was where I needed to be. Like, I knew I was supposed to be at home with my kids and supporting my husband, because that career only can last for so long, But I think I was constantly looking for new passions for something to take off. And I'm glad I had that freedom and that ability to try all of those things, because they really set us up for what Cookie Society has become. I took all of Cookie Society's pictures for years. The recipe development, I still do 99% of the recipe development. And it was those, failed careers, those failed, things that I tried that really got me ready for that.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, so where did you learn to bake?
My Nana. So I know that's like the most boring answer, but my family, we're in the kitchen people. So the holidays are spent in the kitchen. We make breakfast, we clean it up, we make lunch, we clean that up, and then we make dinner. And all the while there's cakes, pies, everything going on in the background, but actually never cookies. So my family they weren't cookie people. They are now, but they were pie.
I can never remember going to a family function where somebody cooked cookies.
It was not a thing. It was like,
No, you do pies.
Nana made a cake.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so I grew up cooking alongside my Nana, and they all were shocked to hear that I actually bake cookies. They're like, why cookies, Riz?
Yeah.
I was like, why didn't you just ask Nana for the cake recipe, stuff like that?
Yeah.
But that's where I grew up baking. That's where I learned to use my senses in the kitchen. She don't measure nothing. And so everything was like, take that teacup and fill it up halfway. And that's how much we're going to use. And so I took a little bit of that instinct and used that when we started coming up with flavors.
And so have you always loved being in the kitchen?
Yes.
Why didn't God give me this gift? Girl, I cannot
other gifts.
But oh Lord, the kitchen, everything in my kitchen is paper and plastic. I do not cook. Oh my gosh. People always tease me. It's just not something that I enjoy. Yeah. So I admire anybody who has a joy for being in the kitchen. I want to learn this gift, girl.
I got you. You got to come over. That's where I'm at most of the time. Still.
In the kitchen, baking. Okay. So you decide, because you are sending these cookies to your husband, his teammates, everybody's trying them. They're always wanting them.
Yes.
He encouraged you that this was the thing. You guys opened up the brick and mortar, and then you made a statement. You said, and then Oprah called. How does Oprah get your phone number? How does this happen? Please explain, because everybody out here is trying to get Oprah's attention, okay?
Right? So actually, Oprah doesn't make calls, but she told somebody to make a call. And so we got this 2-line email. Hi, can you connect me with your PR? Signed, O Magazine. We're like, what? Someone's trying to scam me, and I'm tired. This is disrespectful, because we're spending 12 hours in that bakery. We're figuring everything out. We're understaffed, and we get that email, and I'm like, we just opened. There's no way. We still don't know for sure how she found us, but from that moment, it was just a sprint. So they're like, well, we need you to send 4 dozen to New York, to our New York office. And they're like, well, then, we need to send 2 dozen here. And because everyone was working remotely. And so I'm out here
in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah. And so I'm sending cookies to everybody so they can hop on a Zoom call. And so they're like, well, this is the deciding process. You're going to send to everybody. And then we made it to the next round, which was determining packaging. And they needed nice, they needed luxe packaging. And so that's where the crate was born. But we're trying to find fabricators for a crate. And I'm begging people to make me one crate because I got to send it to Oprah. This could be great for everybody. Come on. And so, and it was daunting. But we made it to the last round. They're like, all right, so now Oprah's going to taste them. So we mail them out and they're like, okay, so you guys have a few months to get ready, but you're in. I don't know how many people you're going to serve. It's going to be a lot. And from that point, we're just like, okay. And this is September. It's early. And, we're not even really thinking Christmas, but I got my Christmas menu ready. We've shot the flavors, taken all the photographs. We have crates in production and it launches right before Thanksgiving. It was a week before. So it's in November. It's like mid-November it launches.
Oprah's favorite things?
And then it crashed our site. We're like, oh no. And so we're getting a call from New York. He's like, hey, is everything okay over there? And we're like, no, but it's gonna be. And that was the most exhausting thing I've ever done.
Okay.
Ever.
Let's take a deep breath. This is a lot in a little amount of time.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, this all is a miracle in itself.
Oh, for sure.
So you go from being understaffed, being open for 4 hours a day because you're limited.
Yeah.
Are you at that time cooking the cookies?
Oh, yeah.
So you're in the back putting
Jeff
sugar in the bowl. Your husband
My husband too. I'm talking oven mitts.
So it's you,
everybody.
him, and 2 other people working.
So we had 4 plus us.
Okay,
and then
so
we started adding people. But I'm talking, you walk in, you're looking for a job. I was like, can you start in a few hours? When can you start? That's where we were in the beginning.
Oh my, and how are you knowing how to scale this recipe to...
I'm good with numbers, but still, it was trial and error. It was all trial and error. We didn't know how many cookies we were going to sell in a given day. We didn't know how many people were going to show up. We didn't know. At first, the orders were smaller. They're like, I'm going to give you a try. And then people were like, well, I want to send some to some friends. And so at the same time, we have a shipping business. So we've been e-commerce from the beginning and it's up 100% because everyone's at home. So, you can't go to that baby shower. I'm going to send some cookies, since I'm sorry you canceled your baby shower. And so people were using us for those moments to connect when they all were at home. So that's going on in the hallway. We've got customers parked in their cars outside. We're understaffed. We started running night shifts. We're running early morning shifts.
So you're not sleeping?
Not really, but we got it done. And it was a lot of people were down for the cause. So we had a lot of incredible people that worked, more than what was asked of them, which was incredible.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of trial and error and just grinding through it. And then at the time, we also couldn't really tell the team it was for Oprah. So they see me working on Christmas and they're like, this girl's crazy because I'm ordering peppermints offline because you can't go buy them in the store. And I'm working on that. And then we're like, all right, team, really important team meeting tonight. And we're like, so I need you to sign this because you can't tell anybody yet.
Oh, the NDA.
But we're going to be on Oprah's favorite things. And that's going to mean that the store's going to get busier and shipping's going to get busier and it's going to be a lot. So if you have any friends who need a job, tell them to come up here. But that's really how that looked.
Okay, so when you first opened, how many cookies were you selling a day?
Probably more than you think. We still were selling a few thousand cookies.
Okay, it's not making sense, Marissa. How are you a new business? Nobody even knows who Cookie Society is, and you're selling. I guess the timing was perfect.
It was, because you're going into holiday season. So you've got Thanksgiving, you've got Christmas. And so every week it was more and more cookies. And then we had extended our hours till 6. So we were from 11 to 6.
Ooh.
I know. We're like, ooh, come get your cookies. But it worked because at the time, people were working from home. So
you never experienced that new business lull. A lot of people say you break even at 2 years.
I think we did, but it didn't feel like a lull because everything just felt so much harder. So running out to cars, being understaffed. And I'm talking, this is when if your, sister gets sick, then you got to stay home for 10 days. Remember? So that was what the CDC was recommending. And so we'd have people out. They weren't just out for a few days. They were out for well over a week.
So even though business was good, it was a struggle.
It was a struggle. Like
Yeah.
every cookie, we're like, man, we did it again. Every time we turn off the Oprah sign, we did it again.
Hey, we got to be back here at
gotta be back.
whatever o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go from selling 1,000 cookies a day to when you are announced on Oprah's thing, which is still, you have to still be pinching yourself. And this is what,
Yes.
2 years after you guys opened?
No, this is within that first year.
Marissa.
So
when
we
I tell
opened
you,
in-
I need
yeah.
to touch your hands because you have an anointing on you, child.
It's
within a year.
that first year. It's within that first year. So our first holiday was with Oprah. Like it was insane. We just celebrated 2 years a couple months ago.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So 1,000 cookies without Oprah's cosign. Oprah co-signed you. How many cookies did you sell? What's the most amount of
goodness.
cookies you've ever sold in a day?
Ooh. I guess the better measure would be how many people we serve. So we were
Okay,
serving
yes.
like under 100. So like 80, 70 was like, ooh, good day when we were only open for 4 hours. Because I mean, that's a lot of people to see
That is.
in such a short amount of time.
That is.
But when Oprah came, I mean, we saw 331 people one Saturday. Or three,
that's
it
not
was
even-
like 300 people one Saturday. And that was just insane.
And that's not even counting your online orders.
No.
How many orders do you remember getting where you were like, okay, look, her face
I'm
is
like
just
reliving it.
you look tired. You're like, oh. when your site crashed that day,
Mm-hmm.
which is a great but awful problem to have.
Yes.
How many orders do you think were coming in at once?
Oh man, we got like 100 in 1 hour. So it's going, and so we use a lot of software for like to create the shipping labels, and it stopped refreshing. So people were placing orders, and then one of the we sold on Amazon for just that period as well. And so orders are coming from Amazon, orders are coming from our site, and they're just not refreshing anymore. So we still see them coming in, but they're not showing up for us to print labels. So we're like, oh my gosh, we got to make sure we get this figured out.
Mm-hmm.
So let's cut, we gotta stop somewhere, catch back up. But every time we turn on the site, hundreds of orders. We're lucky enough to end up on some of the write-ups. They had put like a picture of our product. And so you're scrolling through and some of them are just live links, but then there's a picture next to ours. And I mean, it was more than we could have ever imagined doing for a holiday season. And now, one of the good things is now we feel equipped to do a lot. Like
Yeah.
we feel prepared.
Yeah.
But at the time it was hard. Our first round of crates, our manufacturer had some issues with their staple gun, and people were calling, cussing us out because their crates broke apart because the nail went too far through. And I'm in the back sobbing because I was like, oh my goodness. And it's the time of social media. So all it takes is a few people to say
gosh,
something
it's so true.
and it just ruins everything. And I had 7 pallets of those. And so we already had a few of them delivered. They were amazing. They're like, we can fix that. So they came and picked them up, repaired them, gave us some more in the meantime because they hadn't finished our order. But we were having to send empty crates to people. They're like, well, I paid for my crate. And I was like, I hear you. So now I'm paying shipping to fix it. I'm sending crates.
Which is costing you money.
It's costing money.
So for everybody, when you order locally, you get the box.
yes.
And when you order
online, we have a different box. This is our holiday crate. So this one's for
so
you to keep
nice.
today.
Oh my
This is
God,
for
I
you.
get a crate. Yay.
Yes. But we only offer those really around holiday time. And they're beautiful.
I mean,
and
and the quality. This is
Yeah.
stunning. Yeah.
And it really was just a mistake on there. And they didn't mean to. They fixed it. It was fine. But for those first couple weeks, every other customer who had ordered a crate, their crate broke.
Yeah.
And it was, oh my gosh, but we had to rally. You didn't have time for that.
Yeah.
Because we still have 400 orders. It is, the day before Christmas Eve? Because I want to say Christmas was like a Thursday. And so at this point, we're begging UPS, FedEx, anybody, come pick these up, please. I'm begging you. And they're like, no, we got to get back. And they're down drivers and we're dropping them off at FedEx and we're stalling. We're like, hey, so how's your day been? And we're trying to rush them out because it was just every single day. We had people who'd come in and their whole shift would be to package and box up these cookies and get them on a UPS truck because all of it is happening out of the same 1,500 square feet.
1,500 square feet.
1,500
Are
square
you
feet.
guys still in 1,500 square feet?
So we actually have a production facility in another store now. So no, but our production facility handles shipping and they're great. There's a team over there that does that. And it's crazy because the numbers that they're doing, like Oprah would be nothing to them now, which is incredible. But at the time, that really was when we were like, we need something else. We're going to have to figure out something else. And so shortly after Oprah, we were looking for a production space.
What is it about your cookies that people love so much?
Ooh, I think it's the flavors. I think it's the texture. And I think it's the novelty of it. Like we change the menu every single month. And so we have 6 classic flavors. You can get those, your salted caramel, your chocolate chip, your cookies and cream. But then we're going to.
Oh, I got cookies and cream?
Yes, I think there's one in there too. But we.
I'm going to eat towards the end, but I definitely am going to eat while we're interviewing in a second. Because I cannot stand the smell. Like my taste buds are going boom, 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 boom. Oh my gosh.
I should have told you to eat lunch
before
you came.
Girl, I would have done it anyways. Like these smell fabulous. You have no idea. Okay, so you have the cookies and cream, the
salted caramel, sugar, more like classic bakery flavors. Yeah. But then we put 4 new ones. So this month we've got caramel apple crisp. It's stuffed with like caramel apples in an oatmeal cookie. That's banana pudding that's sitting right there on the front. We've done key lime pie. We've done strawberry shortcake. We do peach cobbler. And so I think it's those really fun flavors and the fact that we're delivering on what it says it is. Because that's my number one goal. If I say I'm going to give you, peach cobbler, it's got to come with some peach cobblers. So we actually put pie crust on the bottom. So it's different things like that. And I think that's why, we have such an amazing group of fans, of customers, people telling their friend, like, no, you have to try this because I can guarantee you've never had anything like it.
And they're great sizes.
Yes, they're big. They're big because, make it worth it. That's always been my thing.
There's nothing worse than getting a taste and you're like, I just paid. What?
Right.
For this little bitty cookie?
We want you to get that whole experience and you get all those textures in there, all that flavor.
Who is your taste tester?
My husband. Number one. And he is honest. He's like, it's not quite there yet, Riss. And so there's some things that I'll try it every couple months. Like, I'm going to get this right. And that's how they're a labor of love. Like, I'll be trying some of these flavors. I've been working on peach cobbler before we had it on our menu last year for well over a year. And I just couldn't get it right. And then when I finally did, he's like, okay, this can go on the menu like now.
Yeah.
And so he's very honest. My sister-in-law, my family, they get the first round and they're honest. They'll let me know. We leave cookies on the counter to see how they hold up. Yeah. It's a process.
This is just amazing. So then 2020, Oprah's favorite things. I saw recently you were just on Good Morning America.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was exciting.
How was that?
Oh my goodness. So they were profiling, Dallas area businesses that had opened during the pandemic. So very specific and they called us and I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to go on. And it was just really cool because I love Good Morning America. Shout out to Robin Roberts.
I know. We watch it every day in the studio.
And that's, I love to watch that and just to get the opportunity to even spend 10 seconds. And it was a longer than 10 second spot, but to spend that talking about our product and how proud we are of what we've created was that was definitely like top 5 moment.
Did it happen again after Good Morning America? Was it like the Oprah moment all over again?
Yes, but a little bit more rush because it's, they're not replaying that a bunch. And so that we've been on CBS as well. That was right also before Christmas. That was before Christmas 2021. And that was insane because we're a good last minute Christmas gift. And so we had a ton of people like, well, I got to get this to Connecticut. We're shipping all over the place. So those moments we're always grateful for those because it's a nice, just increase of traffic on our website and business.
Which is amazing. So you mentioned top 5 moments. Mm-hmm. Tell me your top 5 moments with Cookie Society.
I think one was, it's definitely Oprah's favorite thing. She has to be number 1, right?
Hello.
She has to be.
What are we even talking about?
But I think number 2 was probably celebrating that 1 year and us being in a better place than when we started. Because we really, when we opened, and I remember crying because our contractor, we were delayed by several weeks because they had to go to one person in the building at a time. And we're like, it should have been done in days. And he's like, yeah, so we don't know what's going on. And I just honestly wasn't sure how that door was going to open. I didn't know how we were going to start serving customers. But celebrating that 1 year was monumental. Opening store number 2 was probably number 4. I would say Good Morning America was number 5. Let me think of number 3.
I love how, look.
I went like outside
Yeah, you
in.
did it. This is how you know that you bake and you do ingredients because you went out of order. I was
really
like, wait,
did.
hold on.
Oh, man. I don't know. Probably, you know what? And I think this is going to be unconventional. But the first trip my husband, well, it was a family trip we took after opening the stores and the store was running and we were gone. That was monumental. I would put that as number 3.
I want you to talk about that. Mm-hmm. We had another guest on several weeks ago, and he said a lot of people start a business and all they're doing is buying another job. Mm-hmm. So what that vacation symbolized for you all is that we have finally scaled to the point where we can breathe and step away and business will continue as usual.
Yeah.
Let's talk. How did you get to that point? There are so many people that are watching that cannot figure out how to scale their business.
That's definitely my passion, is that process and scaling and figuring out how to step back. Because like he said, like if you are, you start this business, but you have to be there and it can't run without you, is an expensive, high risk hobby job. That's what you have going on because you carry all the risk and you in there every day. And of course, when you start, yes, you have to be there. We were there every day, but the plan was never for me to always be there every day. My kids are 7 and 5 and we're starting to play sports and we're starting to do different things. And I want to be there for that. And so when we started this, that was always in the forefront of our mind. And so when it comes to how fast are we going to grow, how fast are we going to expand, I'm keeping that in mind. Like if I do that, will I still be able to be mama? Will I still be able to be your wife? And kind of keeping those things in mind because that's what matters to me. But it really comes down to good hiring, good processes, and forecasting. And so with the good hiring, you have to find people that care. It can be hard, but you have to find people that care about their job, that care about the well-being of the place. And I'm not saying they have to love it as much as I do because there's just no way.
Yeah.
But they have to take pride in their job.
Sure.
And, working with them really closely. And I think with that comes listening. So they will tell me, hey, Riss, I know you wanted us to put 1 ounce of that filling in that cookie, but that's not going to work because it is baking out. And I have to take that feedback. And so I guess that's the 4th thing would be taking that feedback. And then being the processes, if it can't change what we do day to day too much. Okay. Because our labor, you don't want that to change too much. And so that's probably too specific. But basically, when I'm coming up with these cookie flavors, if it's way too involved, it's probably not going to work. And we're going to have to pare it down. Mm-hmm. Because if it's going to change the fabric of the day of how we normally run Cookie Society, it's not sustainable. And so that's my husband's word, sustainable.
I love it. So in other words, with every new recipe, it has to be doable within a
certain amount of time with the tools we already have on hand. You don't want to put 5 processes in one cookie. So I'm not going to have you make pie crust, make a custard filling, make a streusel topping for one cookie. Right. It's just not sustainable.
Okay. And what was number 3 again?
Ooh, now I'm trying to remember.
Hold on, you said
I think I rolled them kind of all up in there together.
Because processes. Hold on, we got to remember
processes, hiring, and it wasn't scalability.
No, because that's what we're doing is scaling.
We're scaling. Why are we?
Because I keep smelling.
I think I rolled them all in there together.
Okay, hold on. While we're trying to figure this out, I'm gonna go ahead and start eating a little bit. But go ahead. Let's see. The last one was.
I'm trying to think because we just did this because we just opened Addison a month ago. Our Addison store is up and running, and we knew everything to do right this time. And it was what allows me to step away.
Because we were talking about scale. How did you scale? How were you able to step away? Let's hear it. What was it? What was the third one?
I don't know. I'm mesmerized by the smell of this cookie.
Oh my gosh!
I need to eat it because my homegirl told me that banana pudding one is wrong.
That's banana pudding on top.
Okay, I see with the vanilla. Or is it manila or vanilla?
Vanilla wafers.
Yeah,
have to get the old school vanilla wafer.
So we named your top 5 moments. We were talking about scalability. Mm-hmm. Let me know what you had to overcome. What was the most difficult part of this process that most people would never know?
Ooh, self-doubt. I mean, do you hear that one a lot?
Okay, you just preach to the choir.
Yeah. Okay. Even when all this is going on, I'm like, why me, Oprah? And it was just a real, she called you for a reason. Own it. And so just that overcoming that self-doubt.
Marissa, I'm so glad you said that.
That was a big one.
I think a lot of times everybody deals with self-doubt,
Yeah.
imposter syndrome. I mean, me included, and we never say it because you exude such confidence. Nobody would ever think.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know this is amazing, but nobody would. Oh my gosh, like y'all. Okay, Jesus, I am having like I'm almost about to step away from this interview, but nobody would ever think that you would be dealing with self-doubt, and that is such a true thing. Even after Oprah calls, is there ever a time where that will try to kick back in again?
Oh yeah, it was like, I'm not experienced enough to take us through this, and I think it changes. It's like, ooh, I'm doubting myself to run this business effectively and go home and be mom and be present for my kids. I'm doubting my ability to lead my team through scaling this, through this hard moment. And you can't show weakness. I can't tell them I'm scared. I can't be like, hey guys, I don't know how many customers are coming. Good luck to you. They needed strength. We've got this. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to have plenty of cookies. Here's how we're going to get through this. That's what they needed from me. But as I'm doing it, I'm like, is this enough? And I think, every so often, especially in moments of exhaustion, being tired, those feelings come up. So I would say don't worry if they do come up, even after, you've done unimaginable things. Like it will still come up. And I think you have to figure out why you feel that way. Like, where's this coming from? Who told me that I couldn't do this? Why not me? And look, other people have done it. I can do it too. And kind of reminding myself of that. And Jeff is good for, you got this. Like, we can do this. You wouldn't be here if you hadn't put in the work. And just keep pushing.
So how many stores do you have?
2.
You have 2 stores. What's the goal? How many stores?
Man.
Are you guys going to have them all over the country?
That's the goal. We're trying to take over the Dallas area. So I love when we meet people that are like, I'm driving from wherever. And they're like, you should put one out there. And we really are listening. We really are trying to figure out, where are you guys coming from? Does Rockwall like cookies? Does Plano like cookies? We're trying to figure it out.
Are you going to franchise?
I don't know. We're 50-50. That's a constant conversation. Before, if you would have asked me a few months ago.
I don't know if I have the money to start it, but let me tell you, if I could have these, this is the problem why I probably should not try to franchise a cookie society, because you know what they say, you can't eat your own product.
You just doing quality control. It's part of the job. It's part of the job.
I'm just taste testing right now to make sure y'all. Yeah. This is amazing.
Thank you.
This is so moist and just flavorful and just.
Thank you.
Okay, so if y'all do start franchising for real, holla at me.
I got you.
Y'all, we need to have, these need to be around the country. Cookie Society needs to be around the country.
I agree with you.
This is a family business, family owned and operated. You can tell that there is love put into these cookies.
You.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't just like, because I'm a cookie, like, connoisseur.
Yes.
And this.
Oh, well, I'm honored then.
I'm not even gonna, because we're not even gonna bring up other companies that everybody likes to support. But this is probably top 2 in my life, and I think the other one was homemade from somebody.
And that's fair.
Oh my god, this is
Thank you on that banana pudding. If it was the one on the top, yeah.
But this
that was the one that was like, ooh, let's be creative.
And they even put
for the culture.
Vanilla
wafer.
Why are you calling it vanilla wafer? Y'all. Okay. Marissa, I am so happy for you guys.
Thank you.
I also want to say this. When they came in, her husband comes in. You can tell, y'all, I love to see it. Like, I think that there is something different about a family-owned and operated business.
For sure.
Because, life is not perfect, right? But he was coming in, setting up the boxes, carrying it in here. I mean, like, taking behind-the-scenes pictures. And the fact that he's your cheerleader.
Yeah, 100%.
That is amazing. That says a lot about his character, which makes you be your best. Because how often are we begging for our loved ones to cheer for us? And like when you're discouraged, you're saying that he's pushing you. So congratulations.
Thank you. When he was playing football, he's like, and I remember when he, right after he retired, he was like, it's your turn. It's your time. And like, y'all, last time I had an interview and they asked me about it, I started crying because it really did go like that. Like, I mean, I traveled. We've moved several times. We've had kids in different states. I had a kid during playoff season, 0 out of 10. Wouldn't recommend. But we've been through a lot. And then for him to just, it's your time. And I mean, he does everything. He can bake. He, gets on the phone and calls vendors. He's running around town. We got a little Cookie Society van, and he's whipping the van. He's doing deliveries. And I'll never forget, when we first started, we had a delivery just to somebody's house. I don't know why I took this order. And he's like, I'll take it. And this lady thought it was a prank because Jeff knocked on the door with her little box of cookies, and it was in an unmarked box. He just pulled up in his car. But I remember I'd been at the kitchen all day. He's like, well, you can stay with the kids and I'll go take it. And it's those moments. And I'm like, all right. So even when we're disagreeing about things, even when, he's like, grow faster. And I'm like, I'm tired or whatever is going on. It's keeping that in the back of mind that we're both on the same team, going for the same thing.
You're about to make me tear up because you mentioned earlier there was a point in time where you were sitting in a house wondering, like, what is my identity? Why am I sitting here? Why am I doing anything? And for him to be in the forefront, and then all of a sudden that career to have ended when it was supposed to, right? Mm-hmm. And you stepping away from, this thing that you've done your whole life, which mentally for a man is probably challenging.
For sure.
And now all of a sudden the roles reverse. A lot of people can't handle that. And you guys
Agreed.
are doing it. You guys are doing it with poise. You guys are showing the world that, Black love exists, that Black love is put into these cookies, that there can be a support system.
For sure.
I mean,
it's hard. It's hard. And it's not like always a fairy tale.
Yeah, sure.
It's hard. But like you said, he was playing in front of thousands of people. He was getting recognized at the grocery store and stuff like that.
And now you whipping the van, girl.
Now you whipping the van. Now you're doing deliveries. Now you're helping me in the kitchen. And just to I'm just so grateful I found such a humble man to walk with, So I got lucky.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, we are definitely cheering for you guys.
Thank
you. Again, you say you ship worldwide, right?
Yes. Well, nationwide. I'm not at the world yet. We got something stuck in customs once, and I'm not trying to revisit that. But, all over the country, Alaska, Hawaii even. I got you.
Okay. Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And they get this. You do different boxes?
Different boxes.
Okay.
So you'll see them on the website. This one will be back here in a few months. And we've got candles as well. Also, Black-owned creator.
Candles?
Yes. Olfactory. He's incredible. He's based out of Dallas. And so he made a candle that smells like what we've been smelling this whole interview.
What?
Yes. And so it smells just like the bakery. You can order that online. And we got the shirts.
Okay,
and
so I just went in.
model over here.
Yes, the Cookie Cartel, they came in and gave me a shirt, and I was like, no, I am representing the way that you have this place smelling. Like, I am your model for today. So I'm officially part of the Cookie Cartel, and I am blessed to be a part of it. So tell everybody, how can they get your cookies? How can they ship them to their friends and family? This is a perfect, like you said, birthday, just thinking of you, anniversary, any type. Who doesn't love cookies?
Yeah, and we actually just set up a subscription now.
Okay.
So we're growing, we're getting there. So you can get them on your door every 30 days. Who doesn't want that? But we're both of our locations are off of the tollway. So we are in Frisco, off the toll at Toll and Main, and then we are in Addison off of Beltline in the tollway as well. Okay. We're right next to Snooze Eatery, across from that Whole Foods. So you can come see us there. We've got new late night hours for the summer. So we'll be there till 10. And you can get us online, cookiesociety.com. We have 6-packs, shirts, candles, dozens, anything you want.
I love it. I love you. You are just a ball of energy. One last thought for our viewers that are trying to transfer their business from their kitchen to on a national scale. Mm-hmm. They're discouraged. They have no idea how they're going to do it. What would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
Oh, man. I feel that. We've had some failed pop-ups where I took almost everything that I brought with me back home. But you just have to keep going. And instead of taking that product home, you're going to have to bite the bullet and you have to give it to somebody because you never know what room your name is being mentioned in. and they're like, this amazing person gave me X product and I just love it so much. And maybe that person seeks you out. And I think get creative with it. One, you're going to have to get in a commercial kitchen. That's that next step. It's a hard step because your overhead goes up. But once you do that, take all the opportunities, slide in the DMs. That's how I got a lot of pop-up opportunities, slid in the DMs, and get creative. If e-commerce will work for your business, I strongly suggest you try it. My e-commerce numbers have been steady. They've been steady because you are in charge of your own traffic that way. And, talk to people and be open to feedback, open to, I don't care if they own a camera business and you sell cookies. Listen to them. They might have something to offer. And it was in those moments that I would hear something. I'm like, ooh, I can keep going. Mm-hmm. And it'll give me just like a little piece. But we see you. It's hard. But if it's worth doing, just don't quit.
Real quick, you said slide in the DMs. I got to ask you, whose DM did you slide in that we would know that actually replied?
Nordstrom.
What? Are you serious?
And I was like, hi, I make cookies. Can I pop up? I saw somebody outside selling something once. And she's like, yeah. And I was right there at the entrance in the mall with my 2 little tables and my tablecloth. And I brought some cookies and didn't know what I was doing. We sold out within like an hour and a half. So we got more cookies.
Was it your page? Was your page kind of professionally set up?
Not even. I think it's, you're walking through the mall and maybe you were going to go up and get a pretzel, but you stopped and got a cookie instead.
Well, I'm saying, why did Nordstrom respond to you?
Oh, I met this lady in the middle of the mall. We met in the food court and I brought samples and she's like, okay, yeah, these are amazing. And we actually didn't get to do them again because the coffee shop there was upset because they sell cookies. Oh, and so I never got to go back. West Elm. Slid in the DMs.
Wow.
Shoot your shot.
I love that. Okay, yeah, we're going to shoot our shot. Okay, final question. I keep saying that. Look, I'm like the Black Panther. Just keep rapping, right? Have you hit 7 figures?
Yes. We have.
And you guys you're just starting.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
It's possible. You can do it. We always say you can make money doing anything. You got to be good at it and you got to work at it.
Got to be good at it. You got to work at it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I told y'all this girl is anointed. I mean, like, your story is just amazing how quickly everything has happened. So we want to back you. Everybody that watches this, we always talk about supporting Black-owned businesses. And we don't just support them because they're Black-owned. We support them because they're Black-owned. They're great. They're doing great business. They're professional. So cookiesociety.com.
Yes.
Send them to all your friends, family, tell everybody about it. And
feeling discouraged, send us a message.
That's right. Slide in her DMs.
Slide in my DMs. I'll pay it forward.
Thank you so much for your time. And we are cheering for you. And whatever I could do to support you, let me know.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Yes, absolutely. I'm fixing to eat. Look, I've been waiting to wrap this interview, if I'm being honest. Okay, now I can really go in.
I'm trying to think what else is in that box that you got to try.
Thanks for the support. Make sure you subscribe to the Dash Podcast YouTube channel. Also, we're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. And feel free to share with some family and friends. Thanks, guys.